my brother's attacking my family. He has an idea stealing me. Oh, millions of people died.
A jury found Michael Bever guilty of 5 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of assault and battery with intent to kill in May.
This information coming from one of the Bever sisters who is now 16. She survived that attack on the night.
Well, Michael was very isolated.
8 possible victims in that home. Possibly that family, the 2 adults and the 6 children, is what we're hearing from the public information officer. Now the homicide investigation begins. I can see the crime tech.
The Broken Arrow Police Department has confirmed 8 dead.
On the evening of July 22, 2015, a chilling 911 call shattered the calm. A boy's voice, desperate and breathless, whispered for help.
Broken Arrow 911. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, where are you at?
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma 7411.
What address?
709 Magnolia Court.
Okay. Are you the only one there?
No, my brother's attacking my family.
Your dad is attacking your family?
No, my brother. He has an idea stealing me. Oh, millions of people died.
Okay, who's attacking your family?
What?
Who's attacking your family?
Yes.
Who is it? Do they?
I'll call them.
No one in the neighborhood could have imagined the horror unfolding inside the Bever household. By the time police arrived, what they discovered would haunt even the most seasoned investigators. Inside the house were the bodies of 5 family members, brutally stabbed, lifeless, and surrounded by signs of cold, calculated violence. A 13-year-old girl lay barely alive, soaked in blood. A toddler, somehow untouched, sat quietly in a room nearby. The suspects, not strangers, not intruders, but the family's own teenage sons, Robert and Michael Bever. What could turn 2 suburban brothers into killers? Why did they plan not just to murder, but to become infamous? And most chilling of all, were their victims just the beginning? Before the bloodshed, before the headlines, before the nation knew their names, the Bever family seemed ordinary.
2 teenage brothers brutally murdered 5 of their family members in Broken Arrow.
A jury found Michael Bever guilty on 5 counts of first-degree murder.
Michael will finally learn his fate. He'll either spend the rest of his life in prison or be eligible for parole in his 50s.
10 years later, we're hearing from 2 Broken Arrow officers who worked this case.
David and April Bever lived with their 7 children in a quiet cul-de-sac in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, a place where neighbors knew each other by name, and crime was nearly non-existent. From the outside, their 2-story home looked like any other, well-kept, suburban, unassuming. David was known to be reserved, strict, and often kept his children out of public schools. April homeschooled the children and rarely allowed them to interact with others. To many outsiders, the family's life seemed isolated, almost too private, but no one could have imagined the storm that was building inside those walls. The Bever children weren't allowed much contact with the outside world. They didn't have social media, weren't seen playing outside often, and were homeschooled away from prying eyes. But behind closed doors, the eldest sons, Robert, 18, and Michael, 16, were growing into something terrifying. While other teens played video games or worried about prom, the Bever brothers were consuming content about serial killers, mass shooters, and notorious murderers. They idolized violence, obsessing over body counts and fantasizing about their own twisted legacy. Robert, in particular, was the ringleader, cold, intelligent, and methodical. He wasn't just thinking about murder, he was planning an empire of death. According to later evidence, including journals and digital traces, the brothers weren't simply angry or disturbed. They were meticulously planning a mass killing spree that would begin at home and then spread across the country. They wanted to outdo Columbine, outdo Virginia Tech, outdo every mass killer in American history. But how did no one see it coming? Was the Bever household just private or hiding something darker? And when the brothers finally struck, why did they believe they were only getting started? It began just after dark on July 22, 2015. A warm summer night when the Bever home appeared calm from the outside. But inside, a massacre was underway. The brothers were ready. Robert Bever, 18, armed himself with multiple knives and body armor. His younger brother Michael, 16, was equally prepared. For months, they had stockpiled weapons and fantasized about slaughter. That night, they made their fantasy real. They waited until their parents went to bed, then lured their younger siblings one by one into isolated areas of the house. Their first target was Daniel Bever, their 12-year-old brother. They told him they needed help with something on the computer. As soon as he entered the room, they stabbed him, again and again. But Daniel didn't die quietly. He ran. Bleeding and terrified, he dialed 911 and managed to get a chilling call through. He told the dispatcher his brother was attacking the family. And then the line went silent. That call saved lives. The bloodlust didn't stop. Next came Christopher, just 7 years old. He stood no chance. Then Victoria, the 5-year-old sister. She was small, trusting, and didn't understand what was happening until it was too late. Their mother, April, heard the commotion and tried to intervene, but she too was stabbed to death. Then came David Bever, the father, attacked as he fought back. But Robert and Michael had the advantage. The brothers moved quickly, efficiently, without hesitation. Crystal Bever, their 13-year-old sister, became their next victim. But unlike the others, she fought back, and she survived. She was stabbed over a dozen times, left bleeding on the floor, but somehow she lived. The youngest, 2-year-old Autumn, was found untouched in her crib. It remains unclear why the brothers spared her, whether it was pity, oversight, or part of their plan to let one family member live and witness their infamy. Meanwhile, the 911 dispatcher alerted police. Officers arrived within minutes. When they knocked and received no response, they heard faint whimpering from inside, and they forced entry. What they found was carnage, bodies in pools of blood, a home soaked in violence, and Crystal, barely conscious, clinging to life. Robert and Michael had already fled into the nearby woods, but they didn't get far. A K-9 unit tracked them down to a thicket just behind the house. Robert was found calm and emotionless. Michael, bitten by the dog, was captured shortly after. Neither resisted. They weren't panicked. They weren't remorseful. They had done exactly what they planned to do. But why did they do it? Was this just the beginning of a larger nightmare? And what terrifying secrets would be uncovered in the days that followed? From the moment the Broken Arrow Police Department stepped into the Bever home, it was clear this wasn't a case of sudden rage or accidental violence. It was something far darker, far more deliberate. The scene was a bloodbath. Investigators moved cautiously, stepping over bodies, pools of blood, and the eerie silence left in the wake of the carnage. But what chilled detectives the most wasn't just the violence. It was the evidence of planning. Inside the home, they found body armor, survival gear, a GoPro camera, and notebooks containing disturbing writings. There were detailed entries outlining plans for mass murder, diagrams of public places they intended to target, and lists of weapons to acquire. It wasn't just a family murder. It was step one in a blueprint for a nationwide killing spree. Both brothers were taken into custody and interrogated separately.
So he would be able to drive it. Can you drive if you had to?
No problem.
Well, you can play video games, surely you can drive a car. Just not very well. I mean, you could get it from point A to B. You might hit some things on the way, but okay. So you had your plan. So what happened after, tell me some more.
Well, I think everything started falling in place. Back a week before is when I started throwing away useless stuff.
Okay.
And I bleed, and so did he.
Did you guys give things away to friends or anything like that? Or
Threw it in the trash. I'm sure a lot of it's still in the barrels in the garage.
In the garage. How long have you had the body armor?
Body armor? Robert's had his probably since it started ago, and we've been buying it. while he's been buying it.
Was it shipped to the house?
Yeah.
Do your parents know? I mean, did they know it?
They knew he had a bulletproof vest. They always thought that was a little wild, but they didn't say anything about it.
Like, were you gonna go? I mean, who else were you gonna kill? Just whoever you ran into?
Yeah, pretty much. He said 5 at a time, like gas stations, restaurants.
Okay, and then just keep going.
Yep.
Did he have some money saved up or something?
Yeah, he had about 480 after buying all the ongoing weapons. Plus
He still had that?
Yeah, plus 100 I had.
Oh, okay. So who were you supposed to kill?
I was supposed to take my pistol crossbow. Who was supposed to shank his soul. She was supposed to die quietly. Yeah, she was going to be the first one, she was. And then Robert would go in, slit Mom's throat, push her over with him. We both go in and kill Victoria.
Because it was supposed to be like quiet, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be with it. And then I would go upstairs and shoot David, Dad, and the guy with my pistol crossbow, which would kill him. And then Robert would go over and kill.
Okay.
So did you use your crossbow at all?
No. The only time I ever hurt anybody was when I stabbed Christopher in the neck.
So as all this was going on, what was Robert saying? Did he say anything to you?
He didn't say anything to me until we were getting ready to head out the back door. I asked him if he was okay, what was going on. He said, yeah.
Okay. So you guys were just kind of silent the whole time?
Yeah, we were silent.
Did you cut your finger? Is that your other hand? Is that?
I think I might have done this just kind of stab Christopher.
Okay. So that might be from your own knife, is what you think?
Yeah, it's my knife.
Are you right or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Right-handed. And so how do you think you cut your finger?
I was kind of.
Were you holding him?
No, he was on the floor, but
Yeah.
I might give something.
You don't remember?
I cut it with my own knife. I know that.
So you were saying you pleaded with, I guess, when they were locked in the bathroom, and what other room were they locked in?
The bathroom, and then right next to it is my dad's office. Daniel locked himself in his office.
Is it just one door to get into the bathroom and the office?
No, they're right. 2 doors right next to each other.
Right next, like this, basically?
Like this.
In the corner,
yeah.
kind of.
And I was like, I said, help, Robert's after me, and they both opened up.
And which room did you go in?
I went into the bathroom, I stabbed Christopher.
Okay. And then what did Robert go?
Robert went into the office where Daniel was, stabbed him. Daniel ran off, and they came into the bathroom and started stabbing Christopher. I left. And,
What Robert Bever told investigators was chilling and deeply calculated. He admitted everything. With a cold, detached demeanor, he described how they had fantasized for years about becoming famous mass killers. Their ultimate goal? To kill at least 50 to 100 people, starting with their own family. They had planned to steal the family vehicle, drive across the country, and commit mass shootings at random locations. Places with large crowds, low security, and high visibility. According to Robert, they believed killing their family would eliminate the obstacles in their lives and mark the beginning of their reign of terror. But even more disturbing were the jailhouse writings discovered later, especially from Michael. In his notes, he echoed admiration for infamous killers, expressed excitement about the murders, and wrote with chilling clarity about what he still hoped to accomplish if ever released. Prosecutors used these documents to paint a portrait of two brothers driven by delusions of grandeur and a hunger for blood. The interrogation tapes revealed zero remorse, no tears, no hesitation, just matter-of-fact descriptions of how they ambushed their siblings, stabbed their parents, and laughed as they discussed their next move. When asked why they killed their 5-year-old sister, Robert reportedly shrugged and said, "She would have grown up to be just like them." Meanwhile, Crystal, the lone surviving older sibling, began to recover. Her testimony confirmed the timeline of events and proved vital in court. Her survival became the anchor of the prosecution's narrative. A story not just of tragedy, but of unimaginable strength. Public reaction was immediate and horrified. This wasn't a typical murder case. This was a glimpse into the mind of evil, premeditated, remorseless, and methodical. Investigators said they had never seen such calculated violence from someone so young. It wasn't just shocking, it was historic, but it raised a terrifying question. If they hadn't been stopped that night, how far would they have gone? The courtroom was tense. The details already known to the public were horrific enough, but what emerged during the trial of Robert and Michael Bever made it painfully clear. This was not a case of teenage rage, but a deliberate, premeditated plan to unleash chaos on the world, beginning with their own blood. Because of the severity of the crime, both brothers were charged as adults, despite Michael being only 16 at the time of the murders. Prosecutors didn't hold back. From day one, they made it clear they were seeking life sentences without parole, a decision supported by the sheer brutality and calculated nature of the attack. Robert Bever, the older brother and perceived mastermind, did not go to trial. Instead, he pleaded guilty in 2016 to all 5 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of assault and battery with intent to kill, and 1 count of threatening a violent act. The plea spared him the death penalty, but ensured he would never walk free again. He was sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole. But Michael Bever's trial would unfold publicly and expose even more of the brothers' twisted worldview. The prosecution painted a picture of 2 young men obsessed with fame through violence. In court, they presented handwritten notes, internet search histories, and drawings that included mass killing fantasies and timelines for executing their plan. Michael's own jail writings revealed a disturbing lack of empathy. He described the killings as necessary and expressed regret only that the plan wasn't fully carried out. The defense, however, offered a different perspective. They argued that Michael had been manipulated by his older brother and possibly subjected to emotional abuse within the household. They claimed he was a follower, not a leader, a scared, impressionable child dragged into his brother's fantasy. They even attempted to introduce evidence that David and April Bever were abusive and controlling, but there was no physical evidence to support those claims. Still, jurors heard from Crystal Bever, the only older sibling to survive the attack. Her emotional testimony, describing how her brothers tried to kill her, how she begged for her life, and how she witnessed the bodies of her younger siblings, left a lasting impact. She also rejected the idea that Robert and Michael were victims. In her words, they knew exactly what they were doing. After weeks of testimony, the jury returned with a verdict: guilty on all counts. Michael Bever was sentenced to 5 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole, along with an additional 28 years for the attempted murder of Crystal and related charges. There was no applause in the courtroom, no sense of victory, just the quiet understanding that justice, as much as it could be, had been served. But the trial left lingering questions. What truly motivated 2 teenage brothers to dream of mass murder? Were there missed signs, ignored warnings, or opportunities to prevent this? And perhaps most hauntingly, if Crystal hadn't survived, would the truth have ever been known? The shock of what happened at 709 Magnolia Court didn't fade quickly. In fact, for the people of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, it never truly left. The Bever home, once a quiet suburban residence, became a grim reminder of the unimaginable. For weeks, crime scene tape fluttered in the breeze, and stunned neighbors left flowers, stuffed animals, and notes on the sidewalk. Some cried openly, others just stared in disbelief. A neighbor recalled, "We thought we knew this family. Turns out we didn't know anything at all." But what haunted the community most wasn't just the brutality, it was the why. The idea that 2 boys raised in that very home had turned it into a slaughterhouse. Not out of rage or revenge, but for notoriety. Law enforcement and first responders, many of whom had never encountered a scene so gruesome, were deeply affected. In the weeks after the murders, the Broken Arrow Police Department established mental health crisis support for officers, dispatchers, and medical personnel who had worked the case. Officers described the scene as something out of a horror film, but worse because it was real. Crystal Bever, the lone older sibling to survive the attack, became a symbol of unimaginable strength. She underwent multiple surgeries and a long physical and emotional recovery. In court, she faced the brothers who tried to kill her and survived to tell the truth. Today, her life is kept private by court order, but she has expressed the desire to move forward and honor her siblings' memory. The home at 709 Magnolia Court stood empty for months after the crime, slowly deteriorating, its windows boarded and yard overgrown. No one wanted to live there. Eventually, the property was condemned and demolished, a move many felt was both practical and symbolic. But what came next was an act of healing. In 2019, the land where the Bever home once stood was transformed into a memorial called Reflection Park. It's small, quiet, and peaceful, lined with trees and benches, a walking path, and a plaque honoring the victims. David, April, Daniel, Christopher, and Victoria. Locals gather there to reflect, mourn, and remember the innocent lives taken too soon.
I really appreciate everybody coming out today. It's so important, and we have a lot of people that showed up, and really happy that so many people showed up.
As the mayor said, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today to support the city's efforts to help our community heal after obviously a major tragedy that we had back in 2015. I do want to recognize, as I'm sure other members that are going to speak today, to talk more specifically about those that have contributed. But for me, anytime that you can add a park to your community, whether it's a passive park or it's an active park, it's always a really good thing. And what I'm most impressed about this park is the fact that it was a partnership between the public sector and the private sector to help this neighborhood and our community heal from that tragedy back in 2015.
For the responding to the scene and saving the 2 surviving victims, for working tirelessly for hours processing the scene, for spending day and night many years afterwards to make sure that the 2 people responsible for this terrible event go exactly where they belong, which is in prison, and for even apprehending those 2 people before sunrise the following morning. We feel that the Reflection Park is something positive that can come from such a negative, terrible event. And on behalf of the FOP, the first responders, police officers, and firefighters, we think it's a step in the right direction to continue the healing process for not only the community, the first responders, but for most importantly, the victims that suffered that night. It's important that we keep the memories of those victims in the forefront of our minds in the face of such evil acts. And I want to just thank everyone for making that happen, and I want to thank all of you for coming today.
1, 2, 3. Thank you all for being here.
But even as the community moved forward, the case remained a touchstone for conversations about family violence, missed warning signs, and adolescent mental health. Experts in criminology and psychology dissected the brothers' motives, trying to understand how 2 seemingly normal suburban boys could become mass murderers in the making. In interviews, investigators and prosecutors admitted that nothing in their careers had prepared them for this case. It was different, it was colder, and it left scars on everyone who touched it. Even now, years later, a single name, Bever, can stir chills in the hearts of Oklahomans. And one question continues to haunt the collective memory. Could anyone have stopped them before it was too late? Robert and Michael Bever didn't kill in a moment of passion. They killed with intent, with strategy, and with a desire to be remembered. Not as monsters, but as legends. What they didn't count on was survival. What they didn't anticipate was the voice of Daniel's dying 911 call, the resilience of Crystal, or the strength of a community unwilling to let their horror become just another statistic. Today, the Bever name lives on, not in infamy as the brothers had hoped, but in sorrow, in reflection, and in remembrance. The victims are no longer just names in a file. They are etched into the heart of Broken Arrow. Their stories are told in whispers, in prayers, and in the quiet footsteps of visitors walking through Reflection Park. And yet, beneath the healing, beneath the years that have passed, the questions remain. What warning signs were missed? How did no one see the storm coming? And if 2 brothers could plot a massacre this cold and calculated, how many more like them are quietly watching, waiting, and planning right now?